Hi YouTube! Back to a bit more of a normal guitar-y review video rather than out and about doing interesting stuff. So this is, you might have seen this when I unboxed it relatively recently, last week. This is my 1985 made Matsumoku Aria Pro 2 laser electric heritage model, although there only is a heritage, there's just the laser electric. I do have one of the reasons I got this is because relatively recently I got the matching bass. This is a classic though. In the bass there's a classic which has an active EQ switch and a crazy thing on the volume control, and the heritage version of the bass is exactly the same apart from it's passive, so it's just a volume and a tone and a 3-bass switch. So they're close enough together, and I was really impressed with this, and it maybe kind of started to change my mind on black guitars in general. That's why I'm not wearing a black t-shirt today, so you can see the guitar. Yeah, so it's been modded in some ways. It's got the original Aria Pro tuners marked Gota on the back of them. It's got the big headstock, not called the batwing. The batwing's slightly different up here, but the batwing without the top bit. Headstock, same as the bass. A Strat type trem with a big block on the back. I've not yet taken off this sticker, which it's string gauges written on it. It's not the ones I put in it. Yes, so like all Arias from this sort of era, backplate says the accurate bolt-on neck system and made in Japan on it, and the serial number, the first number is the year, because these are generally from the 80s, so first number's 5, 1985. I don't actually have the back cover, but these things don't matter. So I ordered a trem arm from eBay, just cheap, measured the diameter of it, and then spent this morning bending it to make it look sort of right. It's kind of hard to tell, to know exactly where I want it, but I'm happy with where it is. It seems to be relatively alright, and when you buy the cheap tremolo arms, they're never the right shape, so I think that one kind of looks sort of right. I also bought notched knobs for it, this type, which are my favourite type of knobs like this. See, they've got sort of notches around the edges. I like them, but I don't know, it's like, that's what's on the base, but I need to have a look and see what was originally meant to be on it, because these could be the original knobs and I want to get rid of the original knobs. I don't know. To be honest, I tried taking one of these off and putting that on, it was a bit loose, so I think these might be like for slightly bigger pots, like the actual shaft thing. It's not miles off. I might have to go in and bend the wee bits out to make it take the other pot, so I think I might just leave it. I also got my favourite kind of switch, this Matsumoku switch tips here. It's kind of square, well it's circular but it's not rounded on top. I quite like that. Yeah, and also obviously these pickups ain't the original. This is a V7 which you get in Ibanez Prestiges. Quite a lot, you normally get a V7 V8 set. This is a V7 and this is a V2, which is quite a rare pickup, and I believe this is what was in Eddie Van Halen's Destroyer. Ibanez Destroyer, the one that's kind of you cut up and then binned. I think it's this one. I think I didn't actually look it up. I meant to, but I never got around to it. So I was kind of interested in the V2 pickup anyway, because I know that's one of the ones that's more desirable. Basically, just a Seymour DiMarzio Super Distortion copy, like a lot of these are. I think you can kind of argue that the V7 and V8s are sort of DiMarzio Super Distortion copies as well. I'd imagine probably the V2's probably got a different type of magnet in it. It might be a, you know, it's an Eco 2 instead of an Eco 5, or it's a ceramic. I really don't know. So I'm messing about with the guitar. So I'm using no pedals now. Wee Laney VC15 coming through the 3x12, nothing else on. It's also got a push-pull coil split, so if I'm playing a wee bit of clean, I've got it popped up. Which goes well with the tremolo arm. So that's both pickups on. Break some rules, put some reverb on. Let's pick up our zone. And you don't like reverb. Humbucker. In the bridge, humbucker in the neck. Both pickups, humbuckers. It's kind of a wee bit tempting to make the volume control a push-pull pot as well, and instead of having a one on the tone that does both pickups, just have the tone do the bridge pickup and just have the volume control do the neck pickup. But it's one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Also, I think it's quite a good mix between the two pickups, go quite well together. I would be willing to change either of them out, but more likely to maybe take out the V7 because they're a bit normal and put something else in. The V2 is a bit rare. But I think the two of them go quite well together. Whoever it was that modded this kind of knew what they were doing. I think it wouldn't surprise me if these were actually an upgrade from the original pickups. Or maybe not an upgrade, to just be a different type, more maybe 1985. Maybe a wee bit more heavy metal-y. The ones that were maybe in it a little bit, maybe higher output, whereas these would be a bit more vintagey. Not really sure. Should really mention the neck being quite wide and shallow feeling. Very similar to my Aria Thor sound neck. In fact, I would argue it was the same neck that's on my Aria Thor sound. It's like a three-piece. It's like 1, 2, 3. There's a wee bit of fanciness on either side, which is the same as my Thor. Actually, it's from '82, I think. So it's a couple of years older. But the Aria were doing round about this sort of, this is '85. They were kind of rather than putting out entirely new models, they were just kind of using old models and bits of old models and stuff like that. So you kind of, this is very much a Thor sound, but I think they've not carved the body quite as much. They painted it black and put like a coil tap switch in it. Just slight modifications on previous models rather than being an actually fully new model, even though it is technically, I suppose, a new model. Sorry, TV shutting down. Yeah, so I'll have a wee bit of a jamboree on it. Just try and make something that's sort of clean in the background. Coil split. I go for a clean sort of thing, yeah. I turn the bass amp on, may as well use both the laser guitars in the same track. Is this going to be in tune? Are you going to check, or am I just going to play it? I'll check, I suppose. Nothing coming out of it. Something's not working, hold on, bear with me. Don't think it was liking the rhythm track being on there. Should really get a better tuner. And we're back. Starts it in passive mode. Active. Trebly active. Bridge pickup active. One switch. More pickups. Then pick up more bass. Let's go. Both and stick on it to start buzzing. There we go. guitar. Maybe not the first pedal to start with, maybe the rat instead. Which I'm looking at. We'll go for the twinote fuzz. Now the buzz face was my favourite one from recent times. Single coil starter bar. That didn't treble arm yet. Another fuzz pedal. probably have done with a volume pedal on the back of the loop pedal there. I feel that kind of wanted to be a fade out. That would be pretty cool. So actually, it wouldn't be actually that difficult to wire up. Just wire up a volume pedal after that, so I can just kind of fade out and still be playing over the fade out. Pretty cool. Yeah, so this guitar is awesome. I mean, it's quite different to, although it's definitely got similarities to Westone Spectrums because it's made in the same factory by the same people at the same time, and it's got there's something about the look of it. It's very different to a Westone. I was saying it's very different to a Westone Spectrum, which is very. Sorry, Muggins filled his computer up and it ran out there. So I luckily I noticed quite quickly. I was just basically saying it's not really that much like a Strat. I should have used that time when it was off to find the. I think it's right there. The tape. I think this is a Strat scale though. I think it's 25.5. It is. So it's a Strat scale, but it's very much more like a Gibson SG feeling neck. It's got the Strat trem, but it's maybe just the neck and the 3-side headstock makes it not a Strat. It's also very different feeling to the Westone Thunders, which were their Gibson-y one. So it's a weird one. It's a bit of a cop out saying what guitar is it like, and it's basically like it's kind of like my Aria Thor sound. It originally had 2 single coils in it, and then I put in 2 P90s. Doesn't have a trem, but it's got that. It's light, and it's sort of somewhere in the middle. It's just, I don't know, maybe lacking a little bit of character, personality maybe. I think these pickups, I do really like the sound of them, so that's not an issue anyway, but I think they do look quite different. They kind of make this guitar a little bit more interesting than it is, you know, having the sort of computery writing on very, very black pickups. Looks kind of quite cool. But I mean, awesome guitars. If you can find one of these, I think they only made them in 1985. There's many Arias you can pick up from around about this era. The expensive, the ones people know about are starting to go up in price. Same with the Westone Thunders. They're going up because people know about them. The Spectrum's getting cottoned onto as well. So if you're looking for a Westone that's a bit weird, you know, that's still at a reasonable price, you have to be going for the sort of crazy looking ones that nobody knows what they are. And it's the same with the Arias. People have long known about the PE series, not the Cat, or maybe the Cat. The RS series are now starting to go up in price, but when you start getting to this era with the 85, you start getting odd ones, which I guess technically is probably not as desirable as, you know, this is an 85, so the equivalent from sort of 82 is probably a bit more desirable because it doesn't look as 80s. You know, that's back in the sort of coffee table era where you got fancy pieces of wood, which this probably is a fancy piece of wood. It's just been painted black to go with the with it being 1985. The only thing that could make it more 1985 is if instead of having white bits on it, red. So it was a BBR, but Aria never did that. Maybe because it was Washburn's idea. Unless somebody's got a BBR Aria. I've not seen one, but everyone else did it, so why would they not? Well, that's just because Washburn thought of it. So also, I didn't set up this trem. It was already set up floating, so it's quite weird. I don't normally have upbend on it, but it's holding tune. Not really noticing that tune when playing it there. And there's no fancy jiggery pokery on this one. You know, it's not even a 2-point bridge, it's a 6 bridge. It's just a good bridge, a good nut, good tuners, good guitar, good guitarist, keeping it in tune. Yeah. And yes, there is a bit of an elephant in the room. That, which I have guitars in the queue that need to be fixed up for other people, and I decided I had to make that work. So I've not quite got it there yet, but this is just really it's so silly. I really quite like it. It's kind of the opposite of this one, even though they're very similar and, well, they're both made in the same place, so there is that, yeah. So I need to do some more research on them. There's not very many. I looked them up on eBay to see what they went for. I see if there was any for sale, and there was none for sale, and the only one that was in the completed listings was that one. So the 2 that I bought. Same with this. I doubt you might see another one of these for sale, but I wouldn't go relying on it. It's one of those ones that just happen to pop up. There's probably quite a lot of these type of models. I've actually done a deal with my pal Wayne to get basically this, but a ZZB or ZZ, which is a sort of explorer shaped one, and in 1985. The famous ones, sort of early 80s, one that Young Lee Malmsteen played and all that, or he played the XX, but you know what I mean. And I've got the bass, the turquoise bass, and in 1985, I think it might be around about that time, the same sort of idea. They painted it black, they put bar magnet pickups in it, and called it a Blade Runner on the headstock, and it's like, yeah! They've also got some great names. Aria, I just sold one, Mega Metal, it was called, which wasn't really that mega metal. It was from maybe it was about 86 or 87, I think. It was much more stratty than this. Kind of looked the same, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, so I've rabbited on enough. I think it's probably about half an hour video, isn't it? Rock on! And